personally, what I used to do, I used to put myself in these crazy mindsets, and I still do today, where like, if I get a little bit too comfortable, I'll go out and make a massive marketing purchase. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay this off in this short period of time, but I'm going to make it happen. That's what drives me as a person.
Welcome to Stay Paid Insurance and Financial Marketing. Unlock the secrets of success in insurance and financial services, where each episode delivers valuable tips and strategies to elevate your marketing game and help you succeed in both life and business. Brought to you by Reminder Media. Welcome to Stay Paid Insurance and Financial Marketing. I'm Joshua Stike along with Luke Acree, and our guest today is Roy Snarr. Roy is a nationally recognized authority on long-term care and asset protection, having been named top of the table 6 times by $1 Million Roundtable, holding the #1 position in his region for long-term care and top 1% in the entire nation. His training platform, Snarr Agent Academy, teaches agents how to increase their business by providing asset protection to their clients. Roy, welcome to Stay Paid Podcast. Thanks for being here.
Hey, it's awesome. I'm glad to be talking with y'all.
Roy, man, excited to have you on. I know I've been able to meet you out on the road some at some of these insurance conferences, get to know you a little bit. You are an extremely successful entrepreneur. Would love to share or have you share kind of how you got into insurance. You built up a really successful agency. Now you're helping tons of agents and agencies. But if you can walk us through how you actually got into the business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because as a kid growing up, our family has zero financial background. We're basically a bunch of glorified hillbillies, grew up doing commercial logging, construction, anything but like finance or anything of that nature or insurance. However, my mother became disabled when I was about 14 years old. Somebody sideswiped her. We lost the house. A divorce came about it. We had to move. I had to move schools in the middle of like a high school time frame. Everything kind of like collapsed on us. And this was in 2001 when the dot-com bubble happened too. So most of my mother's assets were all involved in the market's high-tech stocks. So not only did she lose her job, became disabled, we lost all of the backup and emergency savings. It was a crazy time in life.
Jeez.
And at 14, I was worried about Pokemon cards, riding my bicycle. I had no idea about money or finance, but I always remember we had a check coming in, and that was a Social Security disability check. And that really stuck with me. So when I got older and started studying, I was like, I want to do something that can help people prevent a situation that we went through. I mean, we're very fortunate that we did go through that in the positive aspect because it's led us to help thousands of consumers and thousands of agents protect their assets and increase their income. But it always stuck with me. So I started studying finance, insurance, and long story short, I ended up recruiting myself into a company that sold insurance. I had no idea about it. And it was a very unique process starting. And from grassroots, absolutely nothing, sleeping in my truck, knocking on doors to sell life insurance. And that's the basis of how we all started this.
So, I mean, you go from sleeping in your truck, knocking on doors to, building an agency that's done more than 100 million. Walk us through like the entrepreneurial journey, right? What did it take to achieve that success? Where do you encourage agents and insurance agencies to focus in order to achieve that type of success?
Well, number one, you have to have a passion for this, right? Because it's very few people grow up as little kids and say, I want to grow up and sell insurance. It doesn't really happen. Most people kind of fall into this. And sure, there's some folks that their parents were in the practice or a relative and they kind of take over the book or start working with them. But you have to develop a true passion. Otherwise, you're going to fall out of this business because it's more than just money. You got to do it because you want to help people. You have an interest in insurance and asset protection or finances. Because if you don't, then the paperwork and the objections and the rejections, everything is going to just wear you out. So number one, you make sure that this is the right path for you because it's not right for everyone. But if you feel that it is, it's not a complicated business. Just like any other business, all you simply have to do is put the effort into it. And especially in the insurance space, there's a lot of things that we cannot control. We can't control if somebody says yes or no. We can't control if they show up to the appointment. But what we can control is our outflow. How many phone calls do we make? How many outreaches are we actually doing? And like anything else, the more that you want it, the more that you can get it. And the problem that a lot of agents have is, a lack of ambition, or they're just simply lazy and they don't want to go out there and do the hard work first. Everybody just wants the appointments to come in. They see that it's really easy, or they'll look at somebody like our agency or other agencies that are even more successful and be like, wow, how can I even get to there? How, that's impossible. I just want to already be there. But you have to do the hard work in the beginning, the door knocking, the cold calling, the rejections over and over again. But what we help train is that through this entire process, like, I'm a late bloomer. It took me a long time to figure out a path to success in the business. I wasn't the guy that started and made $100,000 the first year. I was the guy that started and made zero money, failed multiple times, wasted money on marketing systems. It took me 5 years to hit six figures, right? In the very beginning. I wasn't this quick start success, but I was determined. Like, I'm not that smart, but I'm definitely passionate and determined. And that's what's led to our success. And what we help train these agents on is like, look, here's all the mistakes that we made. Try not to make those. There's other ways that you can create marketing revenue for yourself and get clients without spending tons of money. You just have to actually put yourself out there and be willing to commit and actually do the work.
So I want to get to like how you generate leads, because I know you do a lot of work and have done with seminars, but I want to stay on this train real quick. This line of thought of, I agree, it's not complicated, it's extremely difficult, and it's all in the consistency and the repetition. Right. And you're saying it, we've said it, many other people have said the same thing, but yet you still have agents getting into the business, listening to this podcast, and they won't be consistent. Is there anything you have found tactically that helps agents with consistency?
One of the things too, most of it's all mental, right? Because
I agree. Yeah.
It's like burn the ships. Right? There's no other option. There is no plan B. This has to work. And
so go broke is what you're saying. Basically, go, meaning like put yourself in a place where if this doesn't work, you're going to freaking be in your truck or out on the street.
Sure. Maybe not 100% that way financially, but mentally, yes. Right. Because some people, they may have a family, they have other obligations. You got to balance that out. But how do you change the mental without changing the physical, right? Your physiology or your state changes your mental, because Grant Cardone, right? For anybody who follows Grant Cardone, has a very similar philosophy as you of like every year. Now, I don't know if he actually does this or not, because I don't get to see his bank account, but he says he will basically go down to zero. He basically stays broke, because if he has millions sitting in his bank account, or at least this was his philosophy on the come up, he said, if I have millions, everybody who makes a little money goes into defensive mode, goes into or conservation mode, and they don't. And he goes, he would stay broke because it would make him have to get out there and work again. So it's like he literally would physically put himself there. Yep. Yeah. I mean, like what we do here, same way. It's that scarcity mindset, right? That keeps you driving, because it's so easy to get comfortable, especially in this business. You can write a few policies, make a good amount of coin and be like, I could live the rest of the year on this. And then you blow through it. You forget about paying your taxes and everything falls apart. Right. So it is a balance. Like personally, what I used to do, I used to put myself in these crazy mindsets, and I still do today, where like, if I get a little bit too comfortable, I'll go out and make a massive marketing purchase. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay this off in this short period of time, I'm going to make it happen. That's what drives me as a person. Not everybody's like that. That's why some people are just the steady Eddie in the business. But if you really want to peak and break through and go to the next level of success, you have to have confidence in yourself, because that's really the only thing that we have is confidence in this practice, and it gets beat up and torn down all the time. But if you can put yourself in that, not only that mental position, but also that physical position, if you're comfortable with doing that, it takes certain people to do so, then yes, you can make it work, because your mind, the universe, everything will make it happen if you're 100% dedicated and you stay consistent. Just like what we talked about before, if you spend an extra 30 minutes each morning studying, over the course of 1 year, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else. And that's the same type of practices that we implement. And it's like any type of sales position, regardless or not, we consider ourselves educators, but at the end of the day, we're salespeople, right? And it's like, if I make, like agents will call us and say, I'm not getting the level of success that I want. I go, how many phone calls did you make? First thing I ask, what do you mean? I'm like, how many phone calls did you make last week? They're like 20. I'm like, you're never going to make it, right? You got to make, more phone calls, more outreaches. You have to put yourself out there.
You need like 20 an hour.
Yeah.
At least.
imagine if somebody said, you're not going to be able to see your family unless you sell 10 policies this month. They're going to ship your family.
Some people are like,
country.
I'll never sell again because I don't want to see my family. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, very true. There's a difference between family and relatives, right? And so, but if you put yourself in that mindset, like if somebody had a gun to your head and said, you have to sell 10 policies this month, you would find a way to do it.
Yeah, that's it.
Ambition and like that, if you want success as bad enough as you want to breathe, you will find it and you will have it. But not everybody's wired that way. Unique people like ourselves, we just are focused on success, and we have that type of mental wiring, and we're willing to put the physical plane into practice as well, mimicking the Grant Cardone situation. It's like, maybe we should have more cash reserves and be more comfortable. Well, how about we reinvest that and then triple the money? Let's take that chance and do it, and then it'll work.
Yeah, everything you want is on like the other side of discomfort, basically. It's like Ed Milet talks about temporary pain, and most people just don't understand that pain is temporary for the most part, and you just have to get through that discomfort. But I think it's like the greatest people in life are able to just have that balance. Like everything in life is a push and pull type idea. It's like the balance of being uncomfortable, but enjoying the present of where you're at. And it is the reason why I wanted to stay on that train of thought is because it really is that simple. Like we have this sign behind us, take action. And the more I go through life, the more we service clients, the more I build friendships and network with successful people. I just go, man, I'm so tired of people sitting here not successful. And I know why you're not successful. It's the same reason you don't have a six-pack, because you don't eat healthy and you don't go to the gym. You're not successful because you're not consistently putting in the effort. And it doesn't mean that your success is going to look like somebody else's success. But it does mean that, hey, if you don't give up and you stay consistent, you will get a level of success. Like it just naturally happens. So you can almost go, man, if you're not successful today, question your work ethic, question your consistency, question, and I say question in a good way, challenge yourself. How I have found in my life is I'm more motivated by others. I'll get lazy on myself. So so a perfect example is like we have a 5 a.m. call that people at my work get on. And it's just, a few people, and we hold each other accountable to getting up, getting to the gym. I have been so much more consistent over the last 3 years of doing, going to the gym and waking up early because I know those people are waiting for me on that call. So you got to find whatever it is, like you're saying, that will hold you accountable. Coaches, accountability partners have always been it for me, of holding me to that consistency. And I love the idea of a coach that you spend money on, because then you have something to lose. Like right now, I just bet a guy $5,000 that I'm going to have a better six-pack than him in the summer. It's going to charity. It's not just vanity. But it's like it's motivated me knowing, all right, I'm going to be held accountable, and then the loser has to put on social media who lost. So those little things, I just want to give people the tactics of going well, why is Luke Acree successful? Why is Roy successful? Because we put ourselves in those situations, because we do that, because we are, maybe call it psycho, but because we want to get that discomfort to push us through. So let's talk about leads.
Yeah. The other thing too, it's would you hire you? Ask yourself that. If you're in any practice, would you hire yourself? And you look at your habits, how do you spend your time? And the one thing we all have in commonality, and that's 100% equal, is time. And it's you see other people that are super successful in your practice, well, how do they do it? Well, they have the same amount of hours in the day that I do. They're just spending them in a better way.
Yeah. And what holds most people back in their life is worrying about the perception that everybody else has of them. And that's why they don't execute. That's why they're not willing to do the crazy thing or push, is because they're so worried. I was listening to this podcast today in the gym, and that classic statement of do you know your great-great-grandfather? And he was speaking, this was a live talk. He had the audience raise their hand. If you know the name and your great-great-grandfather and what they did, and barely anybody in the audience held their name up. He goes, that person was alive probably almost average, probably 50 years ago they were alive. So in 50 years, as little as 50 years, nobody is going to remember, not even your family, remembering your name or what you did, but yet you're driving down the road and you're deciding everything that you do in life right now based upon what people think about you, and nobody's going to care. They won't even remember your name. Your own family won't. It's crazy.
Well, look at this, too. Queen Elizabeth, one of the most influential people, regardless of your opinion of her, ruled the monarchy, all that. When's the last time you thought about her?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so a lot of people, that was a personal challenge of mine too. Getting onto like social media, YouTube was like, I don't want to do all that. I don't know what people are going to think. Then I just stopped caring. And then it started working out really well because what do I have to lose? Like if I die tomorrow, people will remember me for a very fraction of a second. I'm a lot less influential than say Queen Elizabeth. Right. And it's like, you can't let those people hold you back because they're not willing to do what you're willing to do, but they'll never have what you're going to have if you put the work into it.
And the same applies that if your level of success is not making a bunch of money, but it's, I think of, like my brother and sister-in-law, they're like considered to be farmers basically, or orchardists, I guess, because they have an orchard and stuff. Yeah. But like that, their life is so blessed, amazing, successful, but it's not monetarily necessarily successful or what like some people might consider success, but that is, they've embraced that. They love it. They're not ashamed of it. They live it out. They're passionate about it. And that is just as true as what we're saying here for success. All right. So this is a marketing podcast. I mean, we do talk about motivation, but let's talk about leads. Let's talk about seminars, right? You've built your business a lot off of seminars. You've had a lot of success with seminars. Break down why you think seminars is a good choice and kind of how you went about it.
Okay, instant credibility, number one. So if I buy a lead online and I call somebody, I'm just a salesperson on the phone. They don't know me. I don't have any real credibility. I can open the line up and tell them all about myself. Hey, punch me into Google. That helps. But at the end of the day, I'm just a salesperson. Okay. Now, if I do a seminar, when I stand up there in front of a group of people, instant credibility. I am the expert. They're all looking to me. They took time out of their day to come sit down to learn something. So that is the number one thing about seminars, is that it's not necessarily about the content, because most people won't remember it. That's why somebody just go, your PowerPoint looks terrible. I go, I know, because I built it and I'm not good at tech stuff. But it's not about what the PowerPoint says or the way it looks. It's about you as a person. People in that audience will decide, you know what? I like that person. I either want to sit down with them or they say, this person isn't for me. That's okay. Those that want to actually meet with you, they've already expressed interest. You're not there selling them. You've already sold yourself on the stage or on the platform, wherever you're speaking, and showing that you have knowledge and that you care about people. And then they want to sit down and meet with you. So number one, it's just the instant credibility. Plus, it's a lot of fun. And now some people aren't, they're too shy to do a seminar. There's other ways to do it. But for those that really want to make a breakthrough success, seminars are by far one of the best ways to do it. And we actually have a seminar program where we show agents that you can do workshops for like $2,000 on Medicare, Social Security, retirement planning, whatever you want to do. And if you think of that, if you get 20 or 30 people in a room for $2,000 and you're able to sit down with half of them in that room, even if it's 10 people for $2,000, $200 a lead for the type of commissions that are potentially generated, it's 100% worth it. There's always a lead cost somewhere, but do it in a fashion where you're not begging people to come see you. Please come see me. I can go drive over there. No, they're going to come to you. That is the best flow of business, is when they come to you.
Oh, agree. How do you get the 20 people in the room? Like, how are you finding, like, what type of marketing is filling up that room?
Yeah, a couple different ways. The least expensive way is just to use Facebook. That is by far the least expensive. Now there's
Facebook ads, like running.
Yeah, Facebook ads. Yeah. The filtration of the quality of people coming there is challenging with Facebook because they don't have like the set like income filters. So a lot of agents will also do direct mail. We've done direct mail as well because you get more targeted. It's just more expensive. And so we just have been, we'll go back and forth too, because sometimes on the Facebook platform, seminars pull really good, right? Other times there's not a good pull rate, and then mailers are better. So we're always adapting, trying to get the biggest bang for our buck per se on getting those butts in the seats. But the least expensive way is just Facebook.
Do you do dinners? Like, is it a dinner seminar or is it educational? Like at a library or something?
Yes, I've done dinner seminars before. Not a big fan of it. You get the classic plate lickers, and you have to do it generally at a nice restaurant. And then people will come there. Sure, they'll get some value out of it. We've made money from them. We've broken even. But the educational, the reason why I really enjoy that, like at a community college or public library, is I'm not giving them any more like an incentive to come there. I'm not giving them a prize. I'm not buying them a steak dinner.
Yeah.
They're coming there to actually learn. And I joke around all the time. I say, hey, look, I'm not going to buy you dinner because you don't need me to do that. You get snacks from Costco and some bottled water. That's it. right? You're here for the education. That's what I'm going to deliver. So we've had much better experience on the educational side because people will come there just to purely learn versus getting a free dinner.
How long do you talk for? Sorry, Josh.
Okay.
No, yeah, no problem at all. It's less than an hour.
Okay.
I keep it less than an hour. Yeah, I mean, I've done my presentation so many times I can time it almost perfectly. Ideally, like 45 minutes is my goal. And then sometimes I'll get questions and it'll take a little bit longer. But 45 minutes, because after that, people just zoom out.
Agree. Yeah.
How many are you doing like a year? Like how often do you recommend doing them?
Well, it depends on your staffing and support because you got to be able to service them. Like it's very challenging for us to do more than 2 a month. And we have a full staff here that helps process paperwork, book appointments, everything, because we get so many appointments out of that. And you want to be able to service it. And you don't want to run a workshop and then, you don't have time to meet with them for 3 weeks because then those leads fade off, right? You want to be able to meet with them within the next 7 days, ideally. So, and in any given year, we run roughly around 20 workshops. But in the very beginning, when I didn't have the immense lead flow, I was doing upwards of 3 or 4 a month, like almost one every other week.
Wow.
And sometimes every week. And then I got this massive amount of people. It's like, I can't even meet with them. Let me slow down the marketing. Mm-hmm. And so what we always tell agents, going back to the consistency model, you have to give it time. So if you're just starting in workshops, you need to book out, just do one every other week for 2 months and book those out, because you may not have success your first workshop or second workshop because you're getting used to the swing of it. Like even me, I sold nothing from my first workshop. And then my second workshop, I only did like one tiny life policy, but I just kept with it, being consistent, getting better and better, getting more comfortable. And now it's just like having a conversation on the stage, and people love that and they vibe with it.
And who's your demographic like for this long-term care asset? Like who like, are you targeting age, income? Like how are you targeting?
Yeah. So what we do is I do my workshops on Social Security because I wrote a book on Social Security. That was my niche. You need to find your niche too. Maybe it's Medicare, maybe it's Social Security. If you do workshops on like retirement income planning, you're going to get a lower pull rate. It's going to cost more to get butts in seats. And if you do one like, hey, do you want to buy an annuity? Nobody's going to show up. But if you do something on like education, like Social Security or Medicare, a lot of folks will come. And always be sure that you're not selling up there. You just simply say, look, I'm going to focus on Social Security. Yes, we offer these other services. We don't work for the YMCA. We're not up here just for fun, but we're going to focus on Social Security, educate you on that. If you want more information, go ahead and fill out the form and we can help you with it. We're very non-aggressive at our workshop, and that works out really well because every other advisor is, okay, here's your Social Security or Medicare facts. By the way, let us manage your money, and here's how good we are. We don't do any of that. And it makes us different, and we get people coming back to the workshops, and we get a lot higher appointment booking ratio.
Yeah, it's super smart. What's the appointment rate that you try to shoot for from like a goal perspective conversion?
Yeah, so on average, we book about 70% of the room that say they want to meet, which is really good. Now,
that's incredible, man. Jeez.
And it can vary, too. It can vary, right? But during the presentation, I hit on topics like Social Security, Medicare, long-term care. I tap onto all kinds of different things because I don't know what one person may want or not want to hear or want to meet with, right? But out of that 70%, we'll usually sit down with half of them within the first 2 weeks. Okay. Now, out of that half, we'll usually take about 80% of those and convert them into clients. So for every workshop that we do, we end up usually getting 3 to 5 clients out of it. And then that could be, anywhere between 3 to 5 policies, or on average is about 2 policies per individual there. So between 6 and 10 actual policies. And so we can generate a decent amount of revenue from each workshop. Like the 2,000 in, if we can generate 40 grand, then that's totally worth it for us.
That's incredible. Do you use any companies like White Glove or Leading Response to help you facilitate the workshop, or are you doing it all yourself?
Yeah, so I've used White Glove multiple times. I've used Leading Response. They're all wonderful companies. I know all of them very, very well. Right now, currently, we're using just more of just the Facebook, social media, ad marketing, and it's a lot less expensive.
And you're running those yourself, like you and your team are running that, or you have somebody else running that?
Yeah, not internally, because I'm not good enough at Facebook. We just pay a service like $500 to do it. It's really easy. And if agents want it, we just give them an introduction. It's really simple.
That's sick. Okay.
I just don't want to go in there, and I could probably do it myself, but I just don't want to deal with it. And so it's just easier that way, but it doesn't always work well either, right? Because then sometimes we'll do white glove, because the advantage of white glove, they do everything for you, right? Correct. You just pay for those that come in. They do the follow-up, the appointment booking. So you'll get more people in a room with white glove, but it also costs significantly more. So you have to balance those two out. If you're just starting, do it really inexpensively. Even if you have 10 people show up, I just tell agents, hey, look, you get 10 people in the room. Like we just did one 2 days ago. It rained incredibly hard here. I had 70 people register. So we were anticipating about half of that to show up, about 35. We had like 15.
Oh, wow.
And I just told everybody, hey, look, the rain, it came down hard. A lot of people don't want to drive in it. We had a lot of reschedules. But the advantage, though, is that unlike speaking in front of larger groups that we normally do, this is more intimate and interactive. You can just simply raise your hand or interrupt me. I'm married with 3 kids. I'm interrupted all the time anyway. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And I'll be able to give you more one-on-one attention. Oh, okay, cool. So automatically I broke the objection of like, this guy must not be that good because nobody's here, right? I overcame it by bringing it up front.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. You're a great public speaker. I've seen you speak on stage. You know, obviously know what you're doing. Do you find like, I mean, I don't know how to frame this question, but it's essentially like if the person is not good at public speaking, if they're not charismatic, should they try another do you have any agents that you've worked with that are not charismatic, more analytical, can't speak very well, that do well in seminars, or is it really you need the speaking gift?
I mean, I think there is an aspect of it is unique to be, a decent speaker, but that also takes time. Like my first seminar, I was terrible at it, right? Even when I did my first couple Zoom calls, I was like, I got to stare at this little green light and I'm awkward, right? It just takes practice. So if they want to pursue it, then yes, they can become successful, because one of the inspirations that I had, I watched a couple advisors doing workshops. I'm like, my goodness, they're terrible. They're just like line item 4, this is what you get, monotone, but they're hyper successful because they were consistent with it. That's just their style, right? Yeah. That style vibes really well with certain people. So if they want to pursue the workshops or the seminars, they can do it. Anybody can do it. But if it's totally not for them at all and they're super analytical, another route that you can take to generate business, which we do as well, diversifying our lead flow, is to make partnerships. Everybody has a unique specialty. So for us, we don't sell Medicare. We don't write Medicare. I know about Medicare, but I couldn't tell you which plan N or G is going to be best for you with your employer and all that other stuff. But we partner with Medicare agencies and financial advisors, CPAs, and attorneys, because we say, hey, look, this is what we do, right? We don't wear multiple hats. We are really good at asset protection, annuities, life insurance, long-term care. Right. And with Medicare, people will say, look, we'll write all the long-term care for you, or we will train you on how to write all the long-term care. So you can make partnerships with people. That's great. And if you're super analytical, financial advisors love that because they're just basically spreadsheet junkies.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And there's so much more momentum you can get from reaching an audience using partnerships, because they have their database. They can spend a certain amount of money on marketing to do their seminars. It's a no-brainer. That's fantastic.
So tell us
you already have that transfer of trust, right? I mean, referrals are amazing. So you don't have to resell yourself. You've already been sold. And it's like, hey, look, here's our specialist that does long-term care or social security planning or life insurance or annuities or whatever. You already have that leverage built in through referrals. It just takes a little bit longer to garnish those versus a workshop. I can go do a workshop tomorrow and then know that I have 10 appointments booked for people.
Love that. Talk about your training program then a little bit, because you got something pretty unique going on there.
Yeah, thanks. It's the Snarr Agent Academy. The inspiration to build that, it was like, look, what we have done, starting from absolutely zero, nothing, piecing together everything, how we've built a team that all works together and become specialists in a particular niche within the financial services industry, i.e. asset protection. We started looking around like there's not any real platform out there that shows non-biased training. There's training provided by particular carriers or marketing groups, but there wasn't anything out there that it was like step by step, right? So we developed this program and we literally walk through, this is how you have the first conversation, the second conversation. Nice. This is how you cross-sell your book. This is the difference between company A and company B, product C and product D. We walk through everything, giving the agents a complete resource on everything they could possibly want to learn about asset protection. And for those agents that actually watch the training videos, they attend the weekly Zoom calls, they generate good amount of revenue. The average agent's writing about $10,000 in commission within 90 days with a prior. business that they have. So,
Jeez.
but not everybody does that. We have people that sign up for the course. They never sign in. They just pay for it and they don't join the weekly Zoom calls.
Imagine that. Yeah.
And we have other people that sign up and then they take advantage of it. It's like, the big difference here is that there's a lot of people that will say, hey, I can coach and train you, or I get marketing support from my organization. But those people probably haven't done it. The difference with us is that we have done it. We have built the multi-7-figure agency. We've been through everything that they've gone through, and we are still living that. We're in the same lifetime like that they are in. We are out there selling the same products, going through the same thing, getting the same objections.
That's powerful.
And we're just showing you how we've learned to overcome those and how to grow your book of business. So we're right there side by side in the trenches with them. That's the real value add versus other courses that the people will say, hey, you should sell this product. Well, when's the last time you sold it? Oh, I've never sold it. I just know about it. Okay. How about I learn from somebody who's actually done it? And that's what we've developed the Academy.
That's awesome. So good.
Thanks, Roy, for coming on the podcast and sharing those strategies, man. We really got into it. I love that. Before we close out, can you let people know how to connect with you or to find out more about your platform?
Yeah, very easy. Just Google my name, Roy Snarr, Snarr. That's our main site. It can take you to the Snarr Agent Academy and other free resources. I also have a aspiring YouTube channel. I'm trying to be more consistent with it myself on posting. And so I'm pretty easy to find online.
Awesome. Thanks again. And thank you all so much for listening. You can get those links and the show notes for this episode all in one place over at staypaidpodcast.com. And if you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review along with a comment. We'll read it here on the show. And the best way to support the show is to simply share this episode with someone that you know. If you want to get a hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can always follow our journey on social media. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Roy, you are a beast, my man. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your knowledge. Love the conversation we had. The action item I would give people, you got to be consistent, right? You all know that. But I would challenge you, try doing a seminar. Because I've been, especially, all my insurance agents, financial advisors out there, been in the industry long enough now, gone to enough conferences, worked with enough agents and advisors. And I realized that referrals, number one name of the game when it comes to building your book of business. But the number two I tend to lean towards is seminars, because I keep running into top producers that have built their business on seminars. So I would challenge you. And if you are just like, I don't know where to start, but you have a little check equity that you can spend, go check out White Glove, go check out Leading Response. Those are great companies that we know that can help you do it. Or go, and I think, what'd you say, Roy? It's $97 a month for your agent academy. It's like nothing.
Yeah. And we literally walk through exactly how to set up a seminar, down to the bottle of water, the type of pencils to use, the type of paper to use, everything.
Dang. Yeah. $97 to get all that. You should go check it out. And we have no affiliate fee or anything like that. I just want you guys to get great content. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every single industry is top producers take action. Take action on that today.